want to learn how to earn $60,000 tax-free from your investments? If so, you're going to want to watch this video. My name is Dr. Johnny Walker. I'm the host of this channel, Walk of Wealth. On this channel, we educate our fellow doctors on how to achieve financial freedom through passive investment. I was once a burnt-out dentist, a full-time endodontist. I had a lot of investment property, and I had a young family, and I had zero time. Since then, I learned about passive investing. I went all in, and I haven't looked back since. Going all in real estate has allowed me to take a giant step back from my clinical practice to part-time. I take 6 to 8 vacations per year, travel the world with my family, as well as have the time to pursue my passions, which is educating my fellow doctors, as well as finding great investment opportunities for our investors here. Now, one of the biggest crushers of compounding wealth is taxes. But if we learn simple tricks and strategies to mitigate taxes and just make our earnings more tax efficient or our expenses more tax efficient, it can greatly increase the velocity of our success. Now, I was having this discussion with a good friend of mine who's a very talented investor and fund manager, and he came up with a very novel strategy on how to literally earn $60,000 from your investments tax-free. So I wanted to share these nuggets with you. It's absolute gems. Without further ado, let's bring in our expert friend of this channel and a frequent host, Mr. Dweik. All right, it's great to have you here, BD. Great to see you again. We were talking offline. Absolutely incredible strategy you come up with. Let's get right into that talk. Let's get right into that because I think that this is something that just watching. If this video makes you $60,000 tax free, then our purpose has been fulfilled. So, BD, let's jump right in now. Now, to preface this conversation, let's talk about what the problem an investor has, right? Like, investor is investing for cash flow, right? We talk about on this channel, financial freedom. The cornerstone of financial freedom is cash flow, right? Income that can come in, passive cash flow that can supplement your expenses and reduce your need for working. And that is what freedom is all about, right? Is ability to do what you want with your time, control your time. Now, in order to do that, we need to produce cash flow or income. Now, BD, say you're an investor and your primary goal, say you have a lot of wealth, and right now your primary goal is cash flow. What's the best thing to invest in cash flow? Is it debt or equity? I mean, what just from an overall perspective, you're looking for cash flow, certainty of cash flow, lowest risk. What are you investing in?
To tell you the truth, Johnny, we've discussed it in a previous webinar. For this year, based on kind of where the market is going, I've been definitely very fond of investing in debt, mainly because the pay is current, so you can pretty much get immediate cash flow for your investment. Unlike syndication, where it takes several years, cash flow starts slow, and they're really the payment on the back end. But I'd like to kind of preface the, a couple of the other statements. This is definitely not a strategy of my own. I have a team of tax specialists that kind of help me out, and we strategize whenever we're looking for various different strategy. And I think every person's, own situation is very different. So that's why, we caution this is definitely not a tax advice or legal advice of any sort here. We're just kind of sharing the knowledge and education of the various different experiences. And you and I been just happening to be talking about, hey, cash flow, here's a situation that happened with me recently. And, what I discussed with another investor, and I thought it was definitely great to share with this channel and a lot of the audience in this channel. So no, for sure. We definitely want to preface it that's purely educational and definitely seek the help of the tax professionals and legal professionals to help you in the various different matters. But again, we're here to kind of give knowledge and insight and education about some experiences, that worth looking into that a lot of people don't really see from an immediate standpoint. As you know, when we talked about investing in debt, the biggest concern people have when they start investing in debt they love the aspects of right now that is paying double digits. You could be getting on a first lien position 12% return. It's almost like 1% per month. If you're putting $500,000, that's like $60,000 a year worth of cash flow. But the tax treatment on that is ordinary income, right? So if you're already a high income earner and you're already living in California or New York or New Jersey, you're really paying very high taxes. You're at close to the 50% tax bracket. So to earn 12% and pay half in taxes is not necessarily very efficient from a tax standpoint. So the question is like, hey, what some of the other strategies that could be applied to kind of earn the money in a more tax efficient way and still use it as cash flow to meet some of your daily needs. So that's really kind of the premise, of kind of the discussion here that would like to kind of share with the audience.
Yeah, that's great. So again, just to jump on what BD's saying, neither of us are accountants, right? None of us claim to be accountants. And none of this should be taken as specific financial advice. Do consult with your tax professionals before making any advice or implementing any of these strategies that we talk about here today. Okay, so I definitely want to say that. So just to cover our bases here, right? Now, so investing in debt, right? There's a lot of advantages, like you mentioned. The cash flow is current. We get it right. It starts immediately. It's predictable. It's also lower risk. It's very low on the capital stack. In fact, usually, if you're especially in your first lien position, you are first in line to make sure you get paid. So the risk profile is dramatically different. And this creates a position where you can do some financial planning, especially in terms of cash flow and income that you know that you might need to live off of. So having said that, and you also mentioned that the downside of investing in debt, right? Most of the investments we talk about on this channel, most of the investments that we do in our fund are equity investments, right? So we're investing in the equity side. Now, investing on the debt side, some of the drawbacks are it's heavily taxed, right? It's taxed as ordinary income, which as doctors, as high earning doctors, as business owners, we're taxed at 45, 50%, some places even more than that, depending on how high of an earner you are. And especially if you're in the left or right coast, right? So, and the other downside is you don't catch on the upside, right? There's a fixed level of return, right? Even if a deal is wildly successful, you won't get to participate on that side of it. But the other side, but the advantages are many. And again, it depends on what type of investor you are. What are you looking for as an investor, right? If you're a beginning wealth builder where you're more interested in building in equity, debt might not be the right vehicle for you, at least with your savings, right? Maybe with some retirement accounts, a different story. But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today. We've talked about that in a different episode. Now, the biggest downside I see, BD, is the tax, right? But now, is there a way that we can mitigate these taxes at least a little bit, right? So I think you came up with some pretty novel ideas. Some of you guys might have heard of one or two of these techniques, but we're going to talk about three little rules, little cheat codes, if you will, that the IRS allows, very legal as well. And we're going to talk about let's quantify this a little bit, BD.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Dr. Johnny. So I'll say I'm sure all of us work hard and earn money to provide for our family. So the question here is like, hey, why not have our family? Helps us cut down our taxes. And the thought process here is if an investor already have a business entity that they run smaller gig work, whether they're selling online, definitely involving their children in their business. And I'm not talking about the medical practice business, but a small LLC where they're actually running smaller business transaction, consulting work. They go to speak at a seminar, they get paid. Why should they get paid on their Social Security? They could have an entity, where they get, paid as a 1099. So anyway, that entity structure is an LLC. It's doing, business. And what if that entity actually invest in debt? So now it's not the doctor or the investor investing directly. They're funding their entity and that entity investing into debt. Now, at that point, the income that's going to come back from that investment, so let's just say $500,000 at 12% per year, that's about 60K, flows back into that business entity. Now, as we said, we're involving our family into this business, so our children are involved.
So quick question about that part, BD. Now, if it's a small side business, the chances of you bringing in, a $500,000 of income on a side business might not be feasible, right? Like, is it possible for us to, hey, look, we want to inject 500K into this business, and we maybe put 500,000 as a loan into this business, and then use that money to, potentially invest? Is that still something that's
Yeah,
doable? Because
that's really the thought process is at any point it's a solo LLC. You as owner of the LLC can inject capital in the business. Now, if that capital is still idle, nobody wants the capital to sit idle. You can put it in a savings account and earn, 4 or 5%, or you can put it into a debt investment and earn 12%. It's really no different. I mean, you
right,
look at companies as big as Apple that have over billions of dollars in cash. They're always investing it. They don't want to have their money sit idle.
yeah,
But
inefficient,
effectively,
yeah,
the return on that capital that the business is investing, not you are investing, the business is
right,
investing, is going to flow back to the business and will be
business,
taxed at ordinary income. So the
yes.
thought process here is, what are some of the exceptions and the rules that the IRS allow for involving your kids in the business? So if your children are materially participating in your business and your children are under 18 years old, you can pay each one of your children, I think about 13.5 or 13.9. But effectively, if you have two kids, that's $26,000 a year of salary that can go directly to the children, tax-free from the business. So it's a salary payment. So if you think about it, income is coming into your business entity. 26,000 can go out to two different, to two of your children. You have two children, I have two children. Both of us have a boy and a girl. That's actually one aspect. Now, just like you would have to pay for their piano lessons or whatever, once that money comes in, it's your own money, it's your personal money. So you have the choosing how to spend that salary or put it into their Roth retirement, whatever you do. But effectively, that's cash that you're allowed to take out because you paid salary based on work that they provided for your business. So definitely involve your kids in this business. It also gets them more financially savvy a lot early on, which is something typically, kids are not really getting in school right now. So trust me, we can do a whole webinar on this particular topic. And I can tell you
We're
more
gonna
about
do
how I
another
donate
episode.
my
We'll do another episode right here on the channel on
yeah,
that.
and I'll tell you how I donate my time into teaching youth, about financial
Yes, you
knowledge.
do. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, you
Yeah.
do.
And then another rule or an exception from the IRS can be done is like the Augusta rule. And what the Augusta rule is, hey, since you're running your business from home, you're allowed to have up to 14 meetings per year, where these meetings are tax deductible. Now, what does that mean? It means you can go and get an estimate from a hotel. Hey, how much does it cost to actually rent a room at this hotel and serve food? And it could be $1,000 per meeting. But you can get that estimate, file it with your Augusta rule paperwork, and all of a sudden you can have up to 14 meetings per year that your business is having, which effectively is like paying yourself $14,000 out of the business tax free. Now,
Yep.
26 and 14, we're already
40K.
at 40,000.
Yep.
Another thing is like, hey, you're running your business from your office. So you can take another thing called administrative office deduction. And what that is you look at the total expenses for your home, your mortgage, your insurance, your internet, your other bills. You add them all up and to determine what percentage of your business is your office. So let's just say it's 15% or 20%. And based on that, you can also take that as an administrative office expense. So that's really big part about it is really about you having that business, involving the family in the business, and then taking all these extra, tax allowances that the IRS allow you to do the right proper way with the right. That's why we recommend people to work with their legal and tax professionals to make sure that they're set up correctly and things make sense. But if effectively you're taking in 60K here worth of income, ordinary income, and at the same time you're offloading it directly to you, so 60K out because it's considered as business level expenses on your business.
Yeah,
So
so that's let's recap that now. So we talked about 60K in tax-free income. So how do we do it? Well, number one, you are investing in debt, and this is with the assumption that you've invested $500,000 in debts and some debt in some debt investments. The debt investments are producing about 12% blended across your debt investments. You're making 12% a year, which is $60,000 of income from your debt. Now, that 60K of income would be considered ordinary income, and that's going to go, if you were to invest with your savings account, you invested that same 500K, you would make $60,000 your investment, and then you would pay taxes on that money because it would go count as ordinary income. It would go be attached onto your active income and to find out your taxable dollars. Now, by creating a business, maybe a side business of some kind, whether it's consulting, maybe it's it's teaching at your university, at your teaching CE courses, whatever it may be, a small side business, you can now have your children work in that business, right? And the IRS allows you to give up to $13,000 or a little over $13,000 per year to each child as income, right? I know a lot of doctors already use this in their dental practices, including us. But say you have this side business and you put both, and if you haven't yet, well, here, this is a way to do it. Now you put your two children as employees. Now that's $26,000 of losses to the business, right? You have 14 meetings a year. Say each of those meetings, for you to rent a suitable space to house the meeting, food and drinks, and that costs you, let's say the going rate is about $1,000 a month, $1,000 a meeting. You can have 14 meetings a year. That's another $14,000 plus the 26,000 from your kids. That's $40,000 of expenses or allowances that you can take against ordinary income. And then you have the Augusta rule, which allows you to use your home as an office space. A lot of doctors use this already. If you haven't, here's a time to use it. And you can use this as office space for your business. And so now your house expenses, including utilities, taxes, everything, if your expenses are, say,
$100,000 and it's 20% of the
120 grand a year, right? Like, okay, 120 grand a year. Well, 15% of that is, okay, so say 100 grand a year, just for simplicity of math. That's $15,000, right? Another $15,000 of losses. If it's 120,000, it's about 18. So now you add those three up, that's $60,000 of losses that are not actually losses, but you're actualizing them. These are very legal, these IRS rules. And now you can that adds up to about $60,000. So you take that 60 grand of income that you made on debt, they wipe each other out, and now you made that 60K tax-free. You're welcome. All right, guys, that's all we have time for today. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a fire emoji in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe. I want to see this channel continue to grow. If you know people that you think would gain value from this channel, colleagues of yours, please do share with them. We appreciate it very much and encourages us to keep going and helping our communities grow, thrive, and achieve more freedom. BD, I want to thank you once again for being here. You are a welcome guest here anytime and always. And until next time, and to quote the late and great Jerry Springer, take care of yourself and each other. I'm Dr. Johnny Walker. Peace.